filming this, today is 2 weeks exactly post-op. So it's been 14 days since I had surgery, and it's been 18 days since I sustained the actual injury. Right, so recap, if you haven't watched my previous 2 videos, playing basketball, tried to make a sudden move, patellar tendon just goes on the ground in pain, paramedics, hospital, diagnosed with a full rupture, surgery is unavoidable, have it 4 days later, and this is the 2-week mark from that, right? So, the purpose of these videos is to encourage anybody that's going through this injury, a comparable injury, or any situation that is just pretty hard, right? I'm not gonna lie to you, as somebody who does fitness for a living and who is personally invested in fitness, it's a pretty devastating injury to suffer, but my message to someone out there who's listening is it does get better, right? What you can't do is focus on your pain, is focus on what's wrong, is focus on how long it's gonna take you. All you can do is focus on the small wins that you achieve on a daily basis. And you will achieve small wins on a daily basis. If not daily, at the very least, every couple of days, right? So for me, there are a couple of things that I can celebrate, that I can bring back to you guys as good news. The first is, this has been a couple of days now, but I was actually able to get some extension of that lower leg if I try really hard. It doesn't feel good, but that's essentially the function of the leg that's gone when you sustain this injury, right? So very, very thankfully, it takes a bit of a struggle, but if you pay close attention, I can just go ahead and, right, get that leg off the ground. Doesn't feel good at all. In fact, it borderline hurts, but this was not possible a week ago, right? So super thrilled about that. And again, every day, if you focus on your recovery, you focus on positivity, you focus on your nutrition, you focus on mental clarity and strength, you will see improvement, right? They're very right to say that those first couple of weeks, you're not really doing anything at all. Even for myself, that considers myself a quick healer, tough, an athlete, all that stuff, those first 2 weeks are rough. And my advice is, you do want to sort of play it safe. Mostly because I think one of the things people don't grasp is that surgery itself was a pretty rough thing to sustain, right? The fact that they're making an incision that size in your body, you're going under, they're drilling holes essentially in your bone to be able to attach, the sutures back, to reattach the tendon. These are fairly invasive and, pretty traumatic things. If those things weren't happening under medically controlled circumstances, that would be a life or death situation, right? So if you had surgery, this surgery in particular, or any kind of, lower limb surgery, or any surgery, give yourself the grace to understand that you endured something that's pretty freaking hard. So those first couple of weeks, 2 weeks in particular, you will just be recovering from the pure trauma of having gone under the knife, right? Your body is suspending all its resources, focusing on that. Once that 2-week period passes, then yes, you start to think of regaining some of the functionality that you lost. As you saw there, I did do a leg raise, albeit a very small one. The other thing that's a progress that I'm happy to share with you is I can move around on one crutch. This was not the case even 3 days ago, right? So I was pretty much limited to just getting around on 2 crutches, which means you can't hold anything, right? Still can't really hold anything, or at least you shouldn't. But if you notice, it does take a bit of a limp, but boom, right? It means I couldn't have carried anything, still can't or shouldn't carry anything, but if you notice, I can at least take steps off of a single crutch, right? Which means it's only a matter of time before you go from one crutch to zero, right? So just small steps, you know, the pain is not as much. And again, to that point, those first 2 weeks are basically about managing pain, right? You're not doing anything even remotely athletic. You can't start the most basic parts of your rehab, but for the most part, it's literally just letting your body heal from surgery, right? So again, to recap for you guys, you know, definitely some visible strides have been made. Able to do a basic leg extension, able to begin to move around with a single crutch. It gets better, okay? Don't focus on what you don't have. Don't focus on the timeline that the surgeons and the physiotherapists are giving you. Focus on positivity and celebrating the wins you achieve on a weekly and a daily basis. Keep your head up, keep your spirits up. Your body will surprise you, okay? That's my update for today. Again, comment, subscribe, like, share, support. The goal of this is to make sure somebody out there is helped. Thanks. I'll see you again soon.